Since the 1970s, many developments have taken place in the GCC countries in the fields of petroleum and non-petroleum manufacturing industries. This came about as a result of the emphasis governments have placed on promoting and developing their national economies. The governments of the GCC countries have planned and implemented industrial projects, whilst at the same time have encouraged the private sector to invest in similar projects. Financial support in the form of easy loans and other industrial financing forms were made available by banks. The General Secretariat of the GCC has drawn up a long-term strategy for the years 2000 to 2025, stipulating the overall direction of development and identifying the mechanisms that should be applied in order to achieve the area's strategic objectives. As a result, 3 GCC countries filled the first 3 positions in the Arab Competitiveness Indicator for the year 2005. The strategy aimed at promoting industrial growth in each of the region's countries is one that focuses on integration and is proportionate to the actual capabilities of each country. It also targets increasing the share of manufacturing industries in the national economy to the greatest extent possible. It wants to see an increase in the number of nationals working in the industrial sectors. Furthermore, the strategy also aims at narrowing the industrial growth gap between the different countries to an acceptable limit of self-sufficiency, whilst securing integration between oil, gas and other economic sectors, particularly in industry.
We are now in the process of setting common specifications for all producers of water chillers in the Gulf. Today, the GCC has a special department for technical specifications that developed through intensive communication between us. We now need to concentrate on this and assign different industries to the different members.
Among the priorities set for the Unified Industrial Strategy is to concentrate on industries that are based on exploiting and developing national natural resources, including those industries that target foreign markets, those that target the needs of the local markets, such as food processing, and those that represent profitable investment in terms of financial surpluses and savings. It is only natural for GCC countries to invest in developing manufacturing industries, to enhance the use and efficiency of natural resources, and to encourage the nationalisation of the manufacturing sector, particularly in the less developed areas.
Investors always seek safe and stable areas, which is one of the Gulf's many blessings. The Gulf's political stability and its efficient infrastructure that facilitates excellent communication and transportation facilities in the form of sea, air, and land freighting, in addition to well-equipped ports, are just some of the many factors that make the region such an attractive environment for investment.
عمان الحقيقة متوفر فيها الإمكانيات المطلوبة، هذه من جهة. من جهة ثانية طبعا هناك صناعات بالأخص 3 أنواع صناعات.
There are 3 particular industries that attract foreign investors. The first is the petroleum-related industries that are heavily supported by the government.
حسن الحظ يعني الحكومات تدعم الصناعة هذه وتسعى في تطويرها.
Second, the consumer products industries, and third, the strategic industries that rely on exporting to international markets and are dependent on the availability of resources, such as aluminium.
الصناعات الاستراتيجية اللي تعتمد على توريد عفوا التصدير للخارج، تعتمد على الإمكانيات المتوفرة محليا. على سبيل المثال مثلا من الصناعات الاستراتيجية في منطقتنا الخليجية بالذات صناعة الألمنيوم اللي هي منطقتنا تعتبر الحقيقة.
The Gulf is considered to be among the most important centers for this in the world, particularly the Kingdom of Bahrain and the Emirate of Dubai. The Sultanate of Oman also has a major project that is expected to begin production in 2008.
الخطوات الأولية لتنفيذه في سلطنة عمان، ومتوقعين إن شاء الله ما بين 2003-2008 يبتدون إنتاج.
The state of Qatar is also investing in the industry, and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia realized that this is an industry that attracts foreign investors and began a serious initiative in this field.
اللي هي تجذب المستثمر الأجنبي.
The strategy also affirmed the importance of investing in developing medium and small business projects that not only help meet the needs of the local markets, but also assist in transforming the region into an industrial society. This is done in the Gulf by prioritising those with such initiatives, by giving them incentives and facilities that help the success of such projects, like consultation and study resources. Some of the industries that are currently operating in the region are those related to iron, steel, aluminium, copper, petrochemicals, cement, and new technology industries, as well as those that concentrate on exports. There are also industries that are managed in partnership between governments and the private sector.
Industry in the Gulf is here to stay. It was established on sound foundations. One of the indicators that testify to this is in the field of exports. Today, the exports of the region's industries to the other Arab countries have exceeded 100 billion riyals. Saudi Arabian exports alone in 2004 were more than 55 billion riyals, and this is increasing 15 to 18% every year.
حوالي سنة 2004 55 بليون ريال، وسنويا هي تزيد بين 15% إلى 18%.
I am convinced that the other Gulf countries must export no less than 40 to 45 billion riyals. Therefore, the total non-petroleum exports must be around 100 billion riyals.
The Gulf Industrial Consultations Organisation plays an important role in this context. The organisation makes researching and reporting on industrial investment opportunities a priority. The organisation has prepared over 190 investment projects so far and has promoted these projects through seminars and conferences held in the different countries of the Gulf.
The organization is the only organization where information on industrial investment opportunities in the Gulf region can be obtained. We have 6 databases on the internet that contain most, if not all, the information needed by a local or an international investor with interest in the area to begin any industrial project and to evaluate the existing industrial projects in the area.
المحلي أو الأجنبي لبداية أي مشروع صناعي ولتقييم مشاريع الصناعية الجارية في المنطقة.
We are proud of our Gulf Industries database, which contains information on more than 10,500 factories in the region at a very impressive level of detail about each factory and also provides information on the resources used by the plant as well as the product made at the plant.
The Gulf Organization for Industrial Consultations is in reality the pointing arm for the GCC countries. It was established before the leaders of the GCC had a common vision for industry and is indicative of the attention the countries have paid the industrial field prior to the boom that is currently taking place, especially in the fields of construction and real estate. Industry is thus viewed as a top priority for true economic development of the region's nations, despite the obvious departure away from the traditional industries that have existed prior to the blessing of oil. However, the organization is active in increasing awareness towards future global industrial trends and the impact they would have in terms of the area's industrial potential. This translates into how the region can be successfully positioned in global supply chain and how competitive the area is as a result of the learning curve. This, no doubt, also has a socio-economic return, calculated in terms of employment opportunities for the citizens of the region.
ولكي توفر وظائف متميزة وذات إنتاجية عالية لمواطني دول مجلس التعاون.
According to the organisation, GCC countries have invested over $100 billion in establishing industrial cities and zones and equipping these areas with the latest technologies used in industrial production. As a result, the region's governments are now working towards increasing the contribution of industry in their national economies.
One of the main thrusts of the organization is the provision of complete, accurate information for local and international investors to make sound investment decisions. Information is updated on a quarterly or a biannual basis so as to guarantee relevance and accuracy. We are therefore able to advise every national or international investor interested in establishing an industrial facility in the region to visit the organization to obtain the necessary information and studies.
لتزويد بهذه المعلومات ولدراسة هذه المعلومات وتحليلها.
The organization also conducts feasibility studies that help investors in the decision-making process, as well as providing additional ideas that are worth pursuing. Any project should begin with collecting information, a phase critical for success. The organization is certainly a source of such sound information.
As the efforts of GCC countries have led to a substantial increase in the value-added gains of conventional industries, these countries have been successful in achieving a state of self-sufficiency in many core commodities and consumables.
The world has agreed that the natural resources that exist in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia and the other Gulf countries have got to be invested in. At a time when the world's strategic investors were not convinced with the Kingdom's need for their technology and investment, the Kingdom declared a form of collaboration where 1 million barrels a day are guaranteed for every $1 million worth of investment in the Kingdom's natural gas.
فجاءت المملكة قالت كل من يستثمر في السعودية في مشاريع الغاز $1,000,000 نضمن له 1,000,000 برميل يوميا.
This attracted many investors who soon discovered how feasible, indeed profitable, investment in the region is.
لما دخلوا معانا في المشاريع في المنطقة اكتشفوا أن المشاريع مجدية مربحة وأن لنا مزايا نسبية.
The distinct geographical location of the area between the east and west has also played a role. cheap energy, and the lack of debt have all contributed to increased incentives for the investors in the region.
دولة خليجية تقدم إعانات لصناعاتهم المعتمدة على الغاز أو الصناعات البترولية.
Despite all this, however, Gulf industries still have to face stiff competition. This requires greater attention to increase the role industries play and their contribution to the national economies of the GCC countries, particularly when confronted with massive fluctuations in price in the global markets. A further challenge is to achieve a proper balance between national income derived from industrial activities as compared to the income generated from the sale of oil, which still represents the primary source of income for the nations of the region. This also includes achieving self-sufficiency and moving towards exporting products made in the Gulf. Investing in the production of more and more base metals is another area which needs improving, as these types of industries represent the backbone for manufacturing. These industries are known to attract and absorb national manpower resources and also lead to increased exports.
بالحقيقة الأرقام قاعدة تثبت كل يوم.
The number of businesses in the market today with local production facilities is increasing steadily.
التي يعني تدخل في السوق.
For example, various petrochemical industries have been established in Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Bahrain, and Qatar, almost eliminating the need for the giant sea vessels that used to sail into the Gulf on their way to dock with a cargo of petrochemicals made in Japan and in Korea.
في البواخر يجيبون المحتويات هذه المصانع اللي تقام.
Today, almost 80% of such industries reside right here in the Gulf and are still developing due to the contribution of the private sector in these industries, which increase all the time.
من التحلية تصنع في الخليج. أصبح حتى صناعة المصانع الأساسية في الخليج، وهذا تطور كبير جدا يعني يحسب للقطاع الخاص ودوره في التنمية.
Governments of GCC countries have spared no effort in creating an atmosphere that is conducive to investors in industrial projects. A number of incentives have been made available for this purpose, as have a well-built infrastructure for travel and communication. Changes in the legislative framework have made the laws and regulations governing investment more appropriate to the demands of time and place. Among the incentives presented to industrial initiatives is the provision of space and facilities at nominal fees, exempting establishments from custom duties, easy loans, and promoting national products in all government procurement decisions.
Internal companies that once were reluctant to come and invest in the Gulf area, particularly in terms of industrial initiatives, are today actually competing for the opportunity. An example would be our experience with international investors in establishing our petrochemical plants. Today, with the blessings of Allah, we sit in our offices and investors come to us for investment opportunities.
Governments of the Gulf have also supported medium and small businesses. Their role in the region's future development is now fully recognised. This support has seen a number of very successful outcomes, evidenced in the rising number of investments in small and medium-sized businesses.
Growth differed from one country to another. Kuwait was the first to establish industries in the region. Kuwait established the National Industries Company in the 1960s and established the Space Company. The idea was to create these companies, operate them, and then transfer ownership to the private sector.
بعدين مثل ما شفنا الحكومة بعدين يعني حولت الشركات هذه إلى
Kuwait believes that the private sector should take over initiatives. From this stems the ever-increasing responsibility of the private sector in steering and managing the nation's economy, and therefore it should be supported in the initial stages.
بس يجب مو بس يعني متى ياخذ المبادرة متى ما يتاح له الفرصة يعني يجب أن إطلاق المجال للقطاع الخاص لكي ياخذ المبادرة وياخذ الدور الرئيسي لأن ما في شك القطاع الخاص عليه مهمة مسؤولية كبيرة في توجيه وتطوير الاقتصاد ولكن يجب أن يترك المجال.
GCC countries have worked hard to develop their natural resources and to increase the efficiency at which these resources are exploited. The development of mineral resources began a long time ago, while today there are large-scale projects for the development of natural gas by liquefaction and for the manufacturing of all types of petrochemicals.
We cannot escape the necessity of concentration on oil-related industries and services. Today, we can safely assume that all sectors, industries, and services in the economy are established as a byproduct of the petroleum and natural gas industry. We therefore should naturally concentrate on developing the industries in this field.
Achieving the desired future for industry in the Gulf requires redirecting abilities towards achieving and maintaining a favourable environment for investment. The overriding aim is to achieve well-established industries that are self-reliant and capable of facing current challenges and overcoming future ones.
The more unified our laws and regulations are, the less obstacles and controls we have that slow down development. Not only customs regulations, but also administrative processes across borders between GCC states. This would facilitate an ease movement of products between the countries and support integration.
This requires continued investment in infrastructure so that the environment can be moulded to meet the demands of modern life and modern industries. It requires partnership between the government and the private sector and updating education and training. It also requires establishing proper parameters in which small and medium businesses can do mergers and acquisitions, thereby facilitating their growth and strength against challenges and obstacles.
Trade has been made easy. Acquiring services is simple. If industry is a challenge, I believe that we have been successful in our encounter with this challenge. It's an achievement that all citizens of the region are entitled to be proud of, including the private sector and the government.
Industry in the Gulf has come a long way. It has a proven record of efficiency. However, regional and international competition will not stand still, and it's against this backdrop that the Gulf's industries can claim true excellence.